Welcome to Nameless News with Palawat Sirirat-usdorn, Kasipat Promakotara, Anan Pholthubthim, Siraphop Punmanee, and Nonttawat Seripanu, Thailand's #1 news station.
Welcome back to Nameless News, and I am your host, Palawat Sirirat-usdorn. Today we have much to discuss, including technologies, games, conspiracy, and the latest pandemic, COVID-19. Today we have a few special guests with us, and they are going to be talking about a few topics and more. Let's begin with some tech news. I'm going to pass the mic to Mr. Kasipat, who is standing by. Mr. Kasipat.
Good evening everyone, I'm Kasipat Promakotara and this is Tech Session. Today we are going to be discussing Apple's upcoming iPhone's rumored features. Apple has reportedly been finding a way to implement a folded camera on upcoming iPhone series. This technology, also known as periscope zoom, refracts light horizontally instead of the usual vertical method. This gives the phone the ability to optically zoom in further than what the iPhone 12 Pro and Pro Max currently offer. The problem is that many key patents are owned by Samsung. So Apple either has to develop their method or they have to reach out to Samsung for new supplies. Periscope zoom will not likely happen in 2021 iPhone models. Talking about 2021 iPhone models, Apple is moving iPhone into a portless world by removing Lightning port from at least one iPhone model in favor of MagSafe, a wireless magnetic charger. They could integrate some sort of file transfer into MagSafe for a fully portless iPhone. This will surely drive the technology world forward, as they did in 2016 with headphone jack, as third-party developers will have to adapt and come out with accessories supporting it. Alongside the new features, the recently released iPhone 12 series does have the capability for 120Hz refresh rate, but the reason Apple decided not to enable it is that it drains the battery life. This has to be blamed on the pandemic on Samsung's production line, as they, as a display panel supplier, wasn't able to produce enough LTPO or low temperature polycrystalline oxide display units in time for the phone's release. This technology drains less battery as it can change into any refresh rate anytime. And the good news is that the 120Hz display is heavily rumored to be featured next year thanks to LTPO displays and a better and even lower battery consuming Apple's A15 chipset. And these are the headlining features on upcoming iPhones for 2021 and 2022. And let me tell you that this year has been kind to everybody, including Apple's production line.
Okay, very nice, I have to say. Whatever Apple does next is going to greatly influence the world, considering how big the company is, like it or not. Next up, Mr. Anan will report us about the latest game, Cyberpunk, one of the biggest and most anticipated video game of the past few years. Please welcome Mr. Anan.
I'm Anan Pholthubthim and this is Gaming. Let's kick things off with probably the most anticipated video game over the years, Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 has been confirmed to be released on December 10, 2020. After having been delayed several times, the sci-fi action game will be available on PC and console, including the PlayStation 5. The official teaser for Cyberpunk dates as far back as January 2013. Developers stated that the game contains multiple endings and does not feature a set storyline. This means players are given the freedom over their decisions, affecting their gameplay and the overall story. In addition, the graphics are revolutionary. With highly detailed objects and realistic lightings, Cyberpunk will undoubtedly go down as one of the best looking games ever. Next up, we have one of the biggest games of 2020 having been nominated for multiple awards, and that is Among Us. Among Us is an indie video game released in 2018 but has gained massive popularity and recognition in mid-2020, becoming one of the most influential games of all time. The concept is like a murder mystery game at parties, a murderer among innocents with tasks at hand. Recently, Among Us has been nominated on the Game Awards 2020 for Best Mobile Game and Best Multiplayer. What's interesting is how an indie game has climbed up to the top alongside other blockbuster titles such as Valorant, Animal Crossing, and even Call of Duty Warzone, all of which are nominees. Sometimes success comes up when the least expected. Speaking of Call of Duty, let's have a look at the upcoming update for the integration of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War into Call of Duty Warzone. Call of Duty Warzone is a free-to-play battle royale game released in March 2020 as part of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. Since then, it has surpassed 85 million players worldwide. According to Activision, 2020 is the biggest year for the franchise. An update has been announced for Warzone as well as Black Ops Cold War, released in November 2020. Essentially, it's a crossover between both games. Leveling up in one game will progress over to the other. Moreover, lots of new contents are to come. For Cold War, this marks the beginning of Season 1, with new weapons and maps for the multiplayer. The update in question will be available on December 16, 2020, just in time for Christmas. But anyway, that about wraps it up for this session. This has been gaming. Good luck, have fun.
Alright, that was certainly exciting. I think people are really going to like Cyberpunk when it comes out. For the time being, I will play Among Us with my friend. Anyway, next up, please welcome Mr. Siraphop, the conspiracy expert. So, what are we talking about today, Mr. Siraphop?
Hello everybody, and welcome to the conspiracy session. I'm Siraphop Punmanee, and today we're going to be discussing the mysterious monolith that has been popping up at places. A large, strange monolith had recently made another appearance in Atacama, California. Like the one in Utah, the monolith made its first appearance in San Juan County in Utah. The 9.5-foot metal sculpture was discovered by a group of Utah Division of Wildlife Resources state biologists while they were documenting about the bighorn sheeps when one of the biologists spotted the metal sculpture on November 18, 2020. According to Google Earth, the monolith has been there since 2016. Many people believe the monolith were placed by extraterrestrial life. Turns out it was mysteriously placed by humans. To this day, the person responsible for this monolith is unknown. Weeks after the discovery, the monolith disappeared overnight with no trace. On the same day, a video showing 4 unidentified group of people removing the monolith, and the monolith was disassembled and removed on the evening of November 27, 2020. Days later, the monolith reappeared on the hills of Romania, the exact same as the one in Utah. The 9.5 Romania monolith had scribbles all over the surface, not like the one in Utah. 4 days after the appearance, the metal statue disappeared once again, leaving everybody confused. The mysterious monolith made another appearance in California. News headlines were filled with the monolith going places, not to mention the memes all over the internet. Then, a group of Christians hike up the mountains at night, tearing down the monolith while shouting, "Christ is King," then replaced it with a homemade wooden cross. A metal statue known as the monolith had appeared 3 times total. On top of that, the person responsible for these statues is unknown.
Thanks, Mr. Siraphop. That was very interesting indeed. Perhaps all of this is just a harmless prank. Only time will tell. Now for our last segment, please welcome Dr. Nonttawat from the Ministry of Health. Doctor.
Hello everybody! It's been well over a year since COVID-19 has begun its conquest of this world. While the vaccine has been coming along nicely, the virus itself has also been mutating with an alarming phase. So, to better understand the virus, let's look into the history of the virus that has plagued the world, coronavirus disease of 2019, also known as COVID-19. It was December of 2019. Several cases of pneumonia were reported in Wuhan, Hubei province, China. It was the debut of the virus that would later be identified as coronavirus or COVID-19. During early 2020, many things happened, with the first confirmed date on the 9th January and the first case reported outside of China on the 13th of January in Thailand. After that, many more cases have been confirmed in many more countries, with over 7,000 confirmed cases across over 20 countries by the end of January. During then, many have already begun their development for a vaccine, but unfortunately, according to World Health Organization, it won't be available in less than 18 months. By March 6, over 100,000 cases have been recorded worldwide. Shortly after, on March 11, COVID-19 was now classified as a pandemic. The entirety of Europe is in lockdown, and the Olympics was officially postponed by the end of March. And by April, hitting the 1 million cases milestone, most of the world is in lockdown. While things seem to ease in some countries by the second half of 2020, that is not the case for the world in its entirety. With well over 66 million confirmed cases, a shocking 780 million suspect cases, the grim 1.5 million deaths, and the massive impact on the world economy, COVID-19 may very well be the greatest challenge of the decade to the world. To surpass this harsh challenge is not easy, but as long as we humans work together, soon everything will be better.
Very well, doctors. This year has been a rough ride, but we'll make it through together. The most important thing is that we need to work together, and if we do, then eventually everything will get better. Well, everyone, we are out of time for today. I'm your host Palawat, and this has been Nameless News.